Hey guys, what's up? Chris here with Cohesive Friendship Unit, just me today, and this is my Lone Echo review. This is an ambitious first-party game coming from Ready at Dawn, exclusively on the Oculus store. Is this one small step for man and one giant leap for VR? Let's find out. But before we get into it, please consider subscribing. We'd appreciate your support. We have more reviews on this channel, including review of Half-Life Alyx. If you want to check that out, there's a playlist to our reviews that will be in the cards. And if you have any video ideas or want to talk Lone Echo, please throw a comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. So, why am I reviewing this game 3 years later? There's a really simple answer for that. I was afraid of the locomotion. I've said this on most of my VR videos that I make. I still get VR sickness, and I actually have been thinking about making a video about VR sickness in 2020, so comment down below if you'd like to see that. I'm trying to kind of see if people would be interested in it. Well, this was heralded as solving VR sickness. It is, in fact, rated as moderate on the Oculus store, not comfortable. And, I mean, that makes sense, right? The concept of this game is you're in 0G. You're pushing yourself and floating constantly, and, well, there are some initial comfort settings turned on, like pitch and yaws turned off, so you're not going to be, like, flipping on your axes necessarily. It's still kind of an uncomfortable sensation if you think about it. I took things slow, and after the first session, I was a bit worried. In fact, I felt pretty bad after 10 minutes. I was laying on the couch, sipping water, and eating crackers. After 3 sessions, though, I had fully acclimated, so I was impressed with Ready at Dawn's locomotion system and my ability to acclimate to it. So I guess I would say take it slow, and I'm surprised that it doesn't seem to mess at least me up more than it did. I will say it does not solve locomotion, but it is a cool system and it could work in other games. And what's kind of cool about the game is it does naturally ramp up locomotion over time. It doesn't expect too much of you at the very beginning, but it does as time goes on. Let's talk about the story of this game. This is primarily a story-driven game. You play as a robot, Jack, and you play on this ship. They kind of mine asteroids, and Olivia is your captain, and you're kind of investigating an anomaly that occurs at one point early on. This is very story-driven, so a lot of the footage is going to be from the first, third to half of the game. Don't really want to say too more about the story. Suffice to say, it's not blowing the world and going new places. It's very well done, and it's enjoyable. And it carries throughout. It doesn't really sit too low for too long, which is nice. And as for the presentation, what's going to be presenting this story to you, this is actually still a really ambitious game, still one of the best looking VR games out there. Goes toe to toe with games like Half-Life Alyx, great facial animations, and pretty solid voice acting. I was particularly into Jack's voice acting. I don't really like when robot movies or books or stories with AI, they kind of set hard limits on the AI, the AI can't feel, for example. They don't explicitly give you rules for what Jack can and can't do, and he surprises you in how vocal he can be and the thoughts that he has, and it's nice. But this is a really nice looking game. Definitely one of the better ones out there. Let's talk about the gameplay, and this is where the review might become a little controversial. There's not much gameplay. There's a few light puzzles, which is mostly using your tools to perform mundane tasks, really mundane tasks, which just so happen to be much more cool in VR and in 0G. This is, if this was a flat screen game, this is a walking simulator game, or this is an experience, in my opinion, more than a game, which that's not a bad thing, but that's just something to be aware. I think a lot of people are more into games than walking simulators. That's just a guess. But Again, not a bad thing, just something to keep in mind. This is more of a tight story with exploration than a game, in my opinion, where something like Half-Life Alyx is a game with a tight story. What's really nice is that Ready at Dawn did bake in a game, though. They didn't just develop all this cool stuff and leave it on the floor. They made a game, Lone Echo, which is essentially a VR sport where they use their great tech and put it to good use. But we're talking about Lone Echo today. If you want a review, let me know down below, and I'll probably do an Echo Arena review. At times, this feels like training for Echo Arena, because things ramp up really gradually over time. Like I said earlier, they don't expect too much at you at the beginning, and towards the end, they are kind of challenging you in, like, I guess platforming is the right word, for navigating 3D space with this locomotion, something that would be really essential in a competitive game. One particularly cool thing that I want to highlight is the second act of the game, of what I would say 3, really opens up. There's actually a surprising amount of exploration for you to do, and ways to keep yourself busy, and it is a surprisingly big world. It's bigger than you think when you start the game. One annoying thing is the training modules. You are constantly, I mean not constantly, but it's a 4 to 5 hour experience, and you probably have to do about 8 of these things, hit with these training modules that just, like, right when you're about to do something cool, everything stops and you have to do these, like, really lame and really 2-minute long training things. These, in my opinion, hurt replayability, and they could have been baked into real gameplay. Like, they could have had a training real world thing for you to do on the ship, but whatever, that's fine. In conclusion, Lone Echo was the most ambitious VR game of its time. It brought a AAA experience into VR, but it forgot the game along the way, which again is not bad. I just want people to be aware of that. Since then, more traditional games have kind of taken its place in the form of Asgard's Wrath and Half-Life Alyx for true AAA games. That said, Lone Echo is a high-budget, well-polished adventure worth experiencing, one of the most polished, balanced time versus money VR experiences out there, in my opinion. I do, though, think that years from now, we're going to kind of look back at Lone Echo as having aged poorly, more an ambitious relic of its time, and that's partially because the first hour to 2 hours, so basically the first half of this experience, feels like you're on really tight training wheels on top of these training modules, on top of there just being limited gameplay. Still a very fun experience that I think everyone should experience. And that's all for me today, guys. I will catch you next time.